Oh, hello. My name's Andy Chambers. I'm lead writer here on StarCraft II. The writers on a computer game work with the designers and the artists to produce characters, missions, plots, dialogue, a whole enchilada that hopefully will be enthralling enough to keep you playing right through to the end. So we're going to talk about StarCraft II's story for a while now. Now, if you haven't already finished the game, you might want to skip this bit for now, because there's bound to be spoilers, and we don't want to give anything away. So, off you go. Oh, you're still here? Good. Congratulations on your stunning victory. So, StarCraft II. Well, as the name cunningly implies, there was a StarCraft I, and an expansion for it called Brood War. Now, the memorable thing about these first games was the characters involved, the conflicts between them. It was life, death, revenge, betrayal, insurrection. All in all, there was a hell of a lot going on. So, StarCraft II, I had lots to play with. Between Arcturus Manx, Sarah Kerrigan, and Jim Raynor, there's a whole barrel load of unresolved conflict floating around. And that's before we even got on to adding the new plots and new characters we wanted to put in for StarCraft II. So, on balance, we decided to start with the man with the biggest story to tell, Jim Raynor. Anyway, that's enough from me. Let's hear from the others for a bit.
The transition from StarCraft I to StarCraft II on a number of levels has been quite an adventure. If you can say there's really great bits in StarCraft I think many of them we kind of stumbled into. I remember writing the game with our designer at the time, James Finney, and a lot of the beats that we found to be most memorable, after the fact were, really not mistakes, but things that just kind of popped up. They weren't part of this overarching vision right from the get-go. I think a lot of that storyline really kind of just coalesced over time as the game mechanics got clearer, as the mission concepts got more defined, as we were able to play, on certain of the maps. I think certain characters started coming foreground.
Once we finished Warcraft III, which was a very different take on how to do an RTS story, we kind of learned through the use of heroes that people could get really connected with their characters.
Well, story mode was a whole new thing for us for StarCraft II to give us a place where we could really get in behind these characters and really see what was going on. If you look at sort of the history of real-time strategy games across Blizzard, right, it's really an evolution of what has come before. This is kind of what this team has always wanted to do, but never really had the time or the technology to really make it happen. And then as we were developing the campaign, the Terran campaign alone, just from what the story wanted to be, got bigger and bigger and bigger.
StarCraft, I think, has always really been about specific characters, right? At the heart of this thing with these, giant alien empires, crashing against each other. It's really about a boy and a girl at the end of the day. For the kind of geeks that we are, we're usually much more comfortable dealing with, giant spaceships and alien invasions and ancient artifacts coming back to haunt the present. That's much more in the realm of comfort for most of us as designers and writers. But this time around, these characters demanded to be foreground. The complex web of how they relate to each other, and how their simple movements as individual people really resonate throughout this bigger universe. These big galactic conflicts. At the center of it all is essentially this very simple love story. Who would have thought that?
So we had to take a look at the story and really kind of pepper it with these emotions versus completely being front-loaded. So what we've done is really try to find a balance between who your hero is, having a lot of fun and wanting to play as Jim Raynor, versus these huge emotional arcs that he's going through, right? But we had to take liberties and kind of step back a little bit and make sure that the player understood that he was somebody worth investing into. And that was the challenge, and I think that's also the challenge with telling a story inside the confines of a video game.
At the start of this game, Jim Raynor is a man haunted by the demons of his past. He's battling with all the betrayals that he's suffered and all the things that he's lost, and he's trying to lead this crazy guerrilla rebellion, and at the same time stay as a functional human being, just because he's dealing with, obviously the terrible tragedy of not just losing the woman that he cared about in Sarah Kerrigan, but with what happened to her subsequently, where she became the most evil force in the galaxy. I don't think there's a therapist out there that could help Raynor.
And this actually plays out through the whole campaign. His whole crew gets into a space where they feel like it's mutiny. You know, I mean, this is insane. This man that's, you know, the captain of this huge starship feels compelled to chase down the most evil creature in the universe.
And everyone sort of treats Kerrigan like a sleeping dragon at this point. No one's gonna send expeditions off to worlds that she controls. No one's gonna to try to poke her.
You know, Jim hasn't completely given up on the idea that, you know, there can be a better tomorrow, but he's so haunted by his ghost, pardon the pun, and the specter of Kerrigan and her betrayal, and, you know, the betrayal of Manx, that Jim's not as simple a character as he used to be.
Well, the challenge for any epic storyline, right, is how you marry the huge sprawling battles or political intrigue or whatever it is, and then how do you sort of relate that down to the individual, right? That's what makes an epic feel really mighty. You still have to connect with a single other human being or group of human beings or whatever, right? Or maybe aliens in Kerrigan's case, right? But you have to connect with people, right? But at the same time, you want to show them with a backdrop of just mighty empires clashing, that ultimately either they're shaping the empires or the empires are shaping them. And so really that's what story mode and the game do together, is they try to mesh together and create a holistic experience where you see what the cost is for a man like Raynor, right? When something happens, if a colony world is destroyed and he didn't save everybody, you can see that cost in the story mode experience, but then you obviously experience the battle in the actual game.
I think it's safe to say that the Zerg are not going to sit on their planets and just be happy and roast marshmallows or whatever they do. They're going to come boiling off of those worlds, and there's going to be a lot of fighting, a lot of destruction, and the Koprulu sector is going to explode.
What's been cool about StarCraft II is that it's so big, right? And it involves so many departments within Blizzard itself that really this time it's really been just a massive team effort. It was really cool to just kind of draw upon, you know, more passionate creative minds and really come together as a group to conceptualize this storyline, you know, to write and storyboard the cinematics, to take these characters that existed 10 years ago and update them for, you know, a gaming culture that's, you know, a lot more sophisticated these days than we were 10 years ago. To see the art teams from the development standpoint and the cinematics, group, really kind of come together and, kind of co-own the visual development of the universe. I think it's been a really good process for Blizzard overall. I definitely feel like all of our efforts have just produced something that's far more than any of our unique skill sets could have achieved.